Nancy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello.
Hi. I'm over here trying to
Get this thing called
post to let people know that it's starting.
Hey, Nancy.
Hi, Tiffany. I'm glad that you can. I'm glad you made it.
Thank you. Yep.
Love the hair. You got the makeup and everything done. It's so dark. What's going on?
Yep, it's dark on my end.
You got the light.
Okay, there I go. There I go.
Nancy, you need to be facing the window.
Oh, so it needs to be like this.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Natural lighting. There we go. Okay. Cool. Okay. Hi, Miss Gloria. Thank you for making it.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. A lot of people started commenting and saying they were excited about the panel and how they could get here. So we are competing with 2 or 3 other breakout sessions. So hopefully we have a good attendance. If not, everything's going to be recorded, so people may check it out later. Mm-hmm. So we'll just smile and act like we're, being viewed by 1 million people. And
some years ago, I worked for the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and we planned a lot of events, but we planned a town hall meeting in downtown Atlanta, and we didn't get a lot of RSVPs, and we were just, because everybody's planning their presentations, and had the best supervisor ever, best ED. She said to us, it doesn't matter if only one person shows up, we're going to show out. And so, I mean, people came. We didn't fill the building up, but people came, and we had a lot of fun.
See, you're perfect to kind of set the tone. What Miss Gloria say, y'all? It doesn't matter if there's only one person in here.
That's right.
But again, I don't know if it will be a lot of people or not. Eric Thomas spoke earlier, so there's probably a lot of people in the area. So I think that, and the reason I'm even worried about attendance is the reason why we need to have this panel. And I was so excited Christelle reached out to me because entrepreneurship is not usually associated with mental health. And it is such a booming industry. And that's what I'm gonna mention a bit when I just kind of set up the panel, and then I'll just briefly well, my intention was in the beginning to introduce you myself, but since it's virtual and I want to get you guys talking, I'll just call on you guys to introduce yourselves and give your own brief bio. And then I'm gonna go along with the questions that I sent you, most in that order. The only thing that you haven't seen that I may say is I may prompt you, especially Christopher, and you, Tiffany, to talk more about your subscription box, and Tiffany to talk about your resource center. So, okay, there she goes. Just so, because I want people to understand that you guys are entrepreneurs and you're offering these mental wellness resources and services and even products. And then Miss Gloria, I'm just here to soak up whatever you're going to say. I don't have much direction for you. But I think that you're really needed on the panel because you show longevity. And that because they say a lot of businesses that, they'll be out of business within the first 18 months or something. And Ms. Gloria shows that there is longevity in this industry here in Macon. So just want to speak to that and how, COVID is maybe evolving the business and, bringing more people to you. And hi, Andrea, welcome. I'm so happy that you was able to make it. And then Andrea, I'm going to leave the Southern Center for Choice Theory to Ms. Gloria to talk about. I really want to branch out and have you talk more about SQL and Taringa. And I don't want you to just say SQL. You got to say choosing quality life, and then AKA SQL, so people are familiar with what it means. And then go into Taringa and just talk about how, just, following the footsteps of your entrepreneurial mom, you have just branched out in your own yada yada. Thank you. And thank you guys all again for agreeing to be here on this panel with me. I'm just really excited because, even though they did make a push to get bigger names, and I'm really happy that they did that, I think it's really important for people to see that, this is possible in Macon, and people in Macon are already doing it. So that's why only got Macon people, even though, And do you guys have any questions? You all here? You all made it.
No, I just made another post on social media. I just put the link out there with the flyer.
Perfect. I just shared on my page, and I am.
I think I had shared it on mine too.
Hey guys, just want to check in quickly. Are you guys good?
Yes, we are good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's about to start in a sec. You guys all right? Hey everybody.
Hey.
We hear you.
Sweet. Also, just a quick reminder, just make sure if you guys aren't speaking, to mute your mic. So that way Nancy doesn't have to worry about that part. Otherwise, you guys are good. Looks good. Everybody sounds good. So we're good to go. Nancy, keep in mind that, and you guys are off that, so you guys have used this before. But the little eyeball, as you see people coming in, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I see.
Pop up here?
Yep. All right, I got one more group to check on. So you guys are good?
Does that mean that 6 people are here already?
Yeah, the 6 people on the screen right here, right now.
Oh, okay. I got it.
That's all good. All right, cool. You guys good?
Yes.
All right, sweet. All right, I'll be back.
Okay, it's 3:00 on the dot. And so I'm gonna give people just a 5-minute grace period to join the session. And then again, since it's recorded, we'll just go ahead and start at 3:05 and just talk like the room is full. People may jump in and jump out. So I just saw somebody jump in and jump out. So don't worry about that little eyeball with the numbers.
So you say 3:05?
Yes, 3:05. And for those who may be entering the room, we're just giving, hey guys, a grace period of 5 minutes to allow people to enter the session. People are transitioning from the main stage to here or choosing which breakout session to go to. So 3:05, we will get started. Gives you 4 minutes to take a break, have an intermission if you need it.
Nancy, is there a direct link?
Yes, I'm going to copy the direct link address into the group right now. Well, actually, it's the second one. Oh, that didn't work. Neither one of this worked. Interesting.
Is it the same one that you posted on under my status yesterday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I shared. I just want to make sure I had the right one. Okay.
Oh, did we just lose Nancy?
Oh, okay, this is a chat session. I need to.
Sorry, I kicked myself out clicking buttons. Okay, every time I share it in the chat, it shortens the link for me. So and hey, for those entering the room, welcome. You're in the right place. This is Making Headspace Mental Health and Entrepreneurship Panel. We're going to get started in 2 minutes at 3:05. We're just giving people some time to join. So thank you for coming, and can't wait to discuss this topic.
Oh, that's not right neither. Posted.
Okay. I'm sharing it to my personal Facebook page now with the link. So if you go there in 1 second, you should see it.
Okay.
Okay. So it's on my Facebook page now. Hey Wayne, hey Tanja, welcome guys. Not sure who's all here, but I see people joining, and thank you so much for joining. We're gonna get started in 1 minute. I'm just giving people some time to join because I know they're transitioning, and then I will let you guys know why we're here, what this panel is gonna be about, and of course I will let you hear from our panelists because I know that's what you guys are all here for. That's what I'm here for. So I've shared the link on my Facebook page and on the Making Headspace page. If you guys want to go share that or invite your friends. And it's 3:05 on the dot, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hey guys, welcome. I'm so excited to do this panel. This is a Making Headspace panel brought to you by Macon Startup Week. Shout out to Christelle for having us all here and giving us this opportunity. And the reason why I'm doing this panel, first, if you don't know me, my name is Nancy Cleveland. About a year ago, I received a $5,000 Emerging City Champions grant to do a mental health pop-up gym called Macon Headspace. And it was really a play off of the name of the city, but also a desire that I saw to bring more mental health resources to this area, resources that I myself could benefit from, or resources that I wish my mom had available when she was growing up, and that maybe could have helped her in her story. And so coronavirus hit and I pivoted and launched headspace.com, and I'm in the works of making it an official nonprofit and organizing it to be a true mental health alliance in the Central Georgia region. And so this panel today is going to discuss entrepreneurship in the mental health industry. I know that, excuse me, I'm a little nervous, but I know that the COVID pandemic has brought everyone a little bit closer to dealing with mental health issues. And those could be anxiety, depression, grief. There's so many different things. And I think that people who don't normally struggle with mental health are realizing that there is a need to have more resources available. And so these men and women that I have on the panel are local Macon residents who have ventured into starting various businesses to address mental wellness in our region and have experienced much success, even despite the coronavirus pandemic. They're at different stages of the game. Some have been around longer than others. And I just want our community to see that this $50 billion industry, the mental health industry in America, is something that you can get a piece of here in Georgia, in Macon, and this is how they've done it. So without further ado, I'm going to allow the panelists to introduce themselves, and I'll start right up in my corner, Miss Gloria. Go ahead.
I almost forgot to unmute myself. Hello, everybody. I am Gloria Smith Cissé. I am a licensed professional counselor, a licensed master social worker. I work with the Southern Center for Choice Theory. I have been in practice at the Southern Center for Choice Theory for 10 years. We started our business in October 2010. So we're actually going on 11 years. I am also a writer, I am a consultant, and I do training. So at our agency, we provide a lot of services for individuals across the lifespan, and we deal with a lot of different kinds of mental illnesses. We like to say that we pride ourselves on helping people to identify a goal and then to work towards that goal. And we like primary prevention. So that means that we also have our hands in things that are closely tied to primary prevention. I use primarily choice theory and reality therapy because I really love the results that we get with choice theory and reality therapy, but I also use other types of treatment modalities. That's me. Oh, I'm the mother of 5, grandmother of 20 plus. My favorite job is grandma to all of my wonderful grandkids. I think that is the most important job anybody can have in the world. I get to give them back to their mommy and daddy, but I get to do with them what I like when they're with me, and that brings me so much joy. And I'm also a part of the Brood Bees, where I get to really, really have a lot of fun. Okay, it's me.
Thank you so much. And just because she mentioned she had 5 children, I'll move to one of those precious 5, Miss Andrea Cook.
Everybody. Like Nancy said, I'm Andrea Cook. I'm Gloria's youngest child, although I have a twin brother who probably is more baby than me. But I am a married mother of 8, and I am a master's level marriage and family therapist. I am working to complete my PhD in marriage and family therapy. And I've worked with Gloria to start the Southern Center for Choice Theory. And as a result of that work, now working to bring no-cost access to mental health care to our community through our nonprofit, which is Choosing a Quality Life, also known as Sequel. And that no-cost mental health clinic is called Taranga. So that's who I am. Thank you, Nancy.
Tiffany.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Tiffany Tillman. I am a 2-time graduate of the Fort Valley State University. One of those degrees being in mental health counseling, 2015 graduate. So recently in August, I opened my own resource center here in Macon, 3555 Mercer University Drive. I'm a certified life coach specializing in life coaching for youth and young adults. The purpose of the center, I host a number of camps and I was utilizing churches, but now I'm able to have these camps whenever and not just during the summer. And I want to try to increase some awareness of things that's going on in the city of Macon, as well as some of the things that our youth lack, professionalism, just having someone to speak with, or just having some type of mentorship. So the purpose of the resource center is for a number of businesses as well as our young adults to come in and share their experiences with me and my staff. We are looking to do a couple of new activities in 2021. So I keep everybody updated, and they can follow me on social media, Jaco's Life Coaching and Resource Center. And that's me.
And last but certainly not least, Chris.
Thank you, Nancy. Good afternoon, everyone. Super excited to be on this amazing panel with these beautiful women. And I am Chris Kennedy. I am the founder and CEO of Kennedy Business Partners. I'm originally from Chicago, so I am new to the Georgia scene in the last 3 years. So I guess I may not be new anymore, but certainly excited to be here and growing my business. On a professional side, I have a background in sales and marketing. Currently, I'm an account manager with M&R Marketing here in downtown Macon. And I actually started my entrepreneurship journey about 3 years ago. And I have a passion in health and wellness, physical fitness, and just a few other holistic areas. And I'm all about really helping individuals kind of find their goals and dreams and really live life to the maximum level that they can. And so I started my business, and I market products from vitamins and supplements to sports nutrition, beauty, skincare, several other areas. And I recently launched a subscription box service called the Vitality Box. And it is centered around helping people on an individual basis tackle areas of improvement, whether, for example, that is health area. And so looking at the proper plant-based and organic supplements to actually help those needs and really tackle it and be more preventative before being reactive on a medication side. So super excited to help you all, and can't wait to see what the rest is in store.
Thank you, and welcome again to our wonderful panelists. I'm gonna jump right in there and ask you questions, and feel free to unmute yourselves and answer the questions on your own pace. I do want this to seem like a conversation, not very formal, so just don't speak over anyone, and if you are not speaking, just please mute your phone, mute your device. So my first question to you guys is, why did you choose the path of entrepreneurship in the mental health industry? And again, anyone can answer. I will call on you if you take.
Okay, that's all right. I'll go first. It's easier. Okay, so I have kind of dibbled and dabbled in entrepreneurship for a long time, but for doing various things. But the as far as being a mental health professional and being an entrepreneur, it really made sense to me to do that. I had worked with within several agencies. You have to work with lots of people before for at least 3 years before you can get your license to be able to practice independently. But I knew that there was something that I had to offer the community. I really wanted to be able to offer the community that was independent of somebody else's oversight, right? And the other piece is I really needed to supplement my income because I was working. I had a job, but I wasn't making a lot of money. And I knew that I could better support myself by starting a business. But I hope also to be able to retire and continue to do my practice, because you can do therapy, counseling, coaching, training for as long as you can stand up and remember what you want to talk about, right? So that was the primary interest. I really wanted to be able to offer something that would give me an opportunity to be flexible, to expand my understanding and practice of choice theory and reality therapy, and things that would help people to understand that they are internally motivated differently than many other people that I work around or with. And I definitely needed to improve my economic status. Mm-hmm. That's me.
All right. Well,
Okay.
oh, okay. So for me, Nancy, even though I finished school with mental health counseling and soon after I graduated, I started working in social services. So I was working at the Methodist home here in Macon. So I have a group home background working with kids removed from their home by defects and placed into different placements, as well as working with kids that are placed into foster homes. So I really kind of tossed myself in the mental health area after I finished my degree. I was like, yeah, let me go and, do counseling. And it didn't quite work out that way because I'm not licensed yet, but I did know I had something to bring to the table. So fast forward to the pandemic, and my goal was to always open up my own venue, which I could utilize for an event center. But I got laid off from my job. And so I decided to be proactive. And that's when I decided to get my certification in life coaching. And to me, I felt more comfortable in life coaching because I was already working with youth and young adults. And I felt life coaching is a little bit lighter than therapy because we know therapy can be a little intense. But combining the two, it works out for the client. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm still trugging along, still trying to find my way in it, but I'm just in between coaching and counseling.
Thank you for adding that. And you said some key things there, like it goes hand in hand. So yes, to the people listening, you could definitely be a client with Ms. Cissé and then also be working with Ms. Tillman, and they would be providing two completely different services that all add to your mental wellness formula. And that's how you're making your own headspace. Do Christopher or Andrea, do you guys want to add to that question?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. Oh, you can go, Andrea.
Okay, Chris and then Andrea.
Right.
Okay. So for me, when I started my business, to be quite honest, was not thinking about mental health at all. It was several years ago, and I didn't really look at health that as holistically as I do now then. And so now I had a similar situation to Tiffany, to where 6 months of the pandemic, I was out of work, and that was a huge take on my own mental health. And honestly, it was the push that I needed, or at least God knew I needed, to go further in my entrepreneurship journey. And so really, I used entrepreneurship as, I won't say a coping mechanism, but as the solution to really improve my mental health and to stay steady through my journey that was unforeseen, in the beginning of this year. And so for me, it really gave a more authentic approach and push in my business, and it really helped me connect a little bit further because I had my own mental journey, journey kind of going through. But that's really kind of how I realized that I needed to use a subscription box as a launching pad to take my business further, because I saw the need for people to have that individual help in certain areas.
Do you want to close us up with that question?
And mine is not as profound as the other three people who spoke before me. I got into entrepreneurship because I never saw a permanent place for me in someone else's business model. And because I was not able to be myself in other people's businesses, it was important to me to create a culture that was good for me. And so, yeah, I guess mine was just about really carving out my own path and helping people in the best way that I knew how, without the red tape of working for a bureaucratic system.
Honestly, I think you and Chris both touched on two very interesting points. Chris with, having that 6 months of not being employed and kind of providing services that you yourself could benefit from. But then Andrea touching on the fact that in the mental health space, there are not really a lot of people that look like you. And when you're saying that, I believe that you're referring to being an African-American woman. And so there is space in this industry, not only just in terms of entrepreneurship and success, but also in terms of diversifying it. I mentioned briefly earlier some of the statistics about the mental health industry, and I'm looking at IBIS World, which is a trusted industry research company. And when you look at the mental health and substance abuse clinics in the US, they make up $24 billion. That's the market size. And when you're looking at family counseling and crisis intervention services, they make up $41 billion. Okay, so there is a lot of money out there. To break those numbers down further, the mental health and substance abuse clinics, there's about 18,000 plus businesses that employ 287,000 plus employees. And with the family counseling and crisis intervention, there are 101,000 businesses that employ about 512,000 employees. So going into my next question for you guys, I'm sorry, excuse me, skip the point. Okay, what advice would you give to someone wanting to enter your field? Since there's varying fields, we have life coaches and resource centers, we have subscription boxes, and we have new ventures. You know, I'm not sure if you guys all want to answer, but again, feel free. Okay, Andrea, you can kick us.
So if you want to get in this space, and you're in school currently, advocate to get information or get classes that teach you the administration surrounding being in the mental health arena, because oftentimes we're trained to be listeners and to study theory, but we're not taught in the mental health field how to monetize our craft. I would find out as much information as you can about how to spend those 3 years learning, cultivating when you're trying to get licensed. If licensure is not what you want, then begin to do the work to create credibility for you in this space.
I will piggyback on that and tell people that you can, even if you're in an undergraduate degree or in a master's program somewhere, studying to become a clinician or a mental health professional, it doesn't hurt to take classes in business, because you really need those skills. You know, when you get out, of course, you can connect with people. I was very blessed in the beginning that my son-in-law was a business major at Fort Valley State University, and my daughter has the propensity to speak and go out and look for things and move things around. So that really helped me a lot. But it didn't hurt that I know a little bit about business. But if you want to really be successful, you don't have to have all the skills yourself. As a matter of fact, I'm really okay to say what my deficits are, but you should connect with people who have the skills and the resources that you don't.
I agree 100% with Gloria as far as the connecting is concerned. I would also add on that you need to be your best customer.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to start with yourself when you are starting a business. I was taught that if I'm going to market or offer a product to the marketplace, I should have used it myself and should know it very well. And I think a lot of times we have this negative impression on sales is because most people don't want to be told no. But I've now shifted my mindset from selling to meeting needs. Okay. And so learning how to understand your target market and what need does your clientele have that you can now meet for them, and helping them realize that you have a solution to their problem, not you have a $50 product that you want them to cash app you for. So you need to look at it from understanding that you should be your best customer and that you should be meeting needs. And I think if you can start with that when you are looking to start your business, understanding what you can offer and how you can help people, and you've already done it yourself, it'll make it that much more easier when you go to market and begin looking for investors, or begin opening that shop, or begin marketing on social media. you've now got that innate confidence that what you have to offer is actually legit.
I had to unmute to snap because Chris is dropping those gems over there. I feel like I'm back in school, literally listening to my professor say, if you want to be wealthy, identify the people's problem and then solve it. That is how you stay in business. And then taking it a step further, when I'm learning more about advertising, when you're then marketing yourself, your service, or your products, you're selling the benefits of the products, not a list of what the products could do. People do not care about how many ounces come in the bottle. They care about what the bottle can do. Is it going to make their hair grow longer, their skin shine, they man think they smell good, whatever it is. They want the benefits, okay? Miss Tiffany, did you want to add anything in there?
Yeah, I want to just add real quick too, to find the demographic that you want to work with and stick to that. I personally did not want to work with substance abusers. I personally didn't want to work with sex offenders. And I think oftentimes with counseling, because it's so broad, we'll just think, well, hey, I just got to counsel anybody. You really don't. You really need to, I suggest, pick a demographic that you're more comfortable with working with. And for me, it was working with youth and young adults. And I think that will also help alleviate on being unhappy or even feeling, what's the word, like a burnout. You burn out when you kind of working with the area that, like a job you don't like, you eventually burn out with it. And I know that's what worked for me. Not that I had a personal bias against a substance abuser or a sex offender, but I felt more comfortable in the demographic that I chose to work in.
Tiffany, and it makes me think of something where you weren't licensed yet, but you still saw a place for you to bring your services. And that's similar to myself. I'm not licensed and I have no intention of ever being licensed. I do not want to listen to your problems, but I thoroughly want to go to a therapist and have them listen to my problems. Right. And I want to connect people to mental health resources. I've chosen my mission. You can find yours. Yeah. And there's so many different ways for you to get involved. Yeah. So some people will go the license route, but some people won't. Either way, there's still money to be made and there's still services that people need. So just going further into it, and this is going a little bit back to what you were talking about, Andrea. Have you ever felt discriminated against due to gender, race, ethnicity? And if so, how have you responded as you were, venturing into entrepreneurship in the mental health industry?
Absolutely, yes. Almost every and every path there, whether it was blatant racism or microaggressions or sexism, it has been so many isms that attempted to keep me from pursuing this path. But perseverance has been my best friend, and asking questions, regardless of whether or not I felt comfortable enough to do so. But even in the nonprofit space, when you've done the work, when you have proven every skill, and just like we were listening to, I was listening to another session earlier today, having to be the best, having to prove that you're the best, even in this industry, it's taxing. It's hard. And people sometimes still discriminate against you, even if you have all the credentials. But I know that people who look like me deserve to have access. They also deserve to receive care without stigma. And so that's why we're bringing Tiranga to Macon.
More about Tiranga.
So Tiranga is a wall of words. My mom, you see, her last name is Cissé. It's a Senegalese word that means hospitality. And so the way that we've always done our practice is people came here or came into our space and felt comfortable because we created a culture where we wanted people to feel accepted, regardless of what crime you committed, what you may have done wrong. So when people come here, they're treated as good as they would be treated anywhere. at a $400 an hour place, they're going to be treated the same, and they won't have to pay for the service that they receive, and they're still going to get the best therapist. And I personally believe that the best therapist that I know is Gloria Smith Cissé. So I just, being able to do this, and I'm really grateful for the people who have given me the opportunity. I really have to shout out so many people. I won't do it here, but once we launch Taranga, people will be able to refer. They won't have to do any prior authorizations. They won't necessarily receive a diagnosis because that can be stigmatizing in itself. We will work with people who need help. So that's that.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing. Gloria, Chris,
Yes.
Tiffany, do you guys?
What did you say?
Did you want to answer the question? But go ahead.
What question am I answering? Oh, the one about the problem?
Yeah, no. I just asked, like, have you ever
sorry.
felt discriminated against?
Okay, yeah. I'm back on track. I was typing in the chat.
Yes,
I
guys,
do
if you
not
guys
multitask.
have questions, feel free to ask them. Ms. Gloria is clearly all up and through the chat, so you might get some extra information.
Yeah, I'm putting stuff in the chat. I don't multitask, y'all. Okay, all right. So yes, I have in this profession. I mean, you walk in a room. I think the term you young folks use is help me, Andrea. It is where you feel less than, or you don't feel as qualified. You don't feel
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome is real, especially in our profession, because this hasn't always been a profession where there were a lot of African Americans. It still isn't, and so people assume that you walk in the room and you're a Black woman, that you aren't the person who is the keeper of the knowledge. You don't have whatever it is that somebody who isn't Black sitting next to you does. And so you can say I can say something in a meeting, and then somebody across the table will direct a question to a white man sitting next to me, and he'll say, well, I agree with Gloria, and say exactly what Gloria just said. And it really is disheartening, but it's the reality. And so generally what I do, and for those of you who know me, know I have a lot of certifications, I have a lot of training, I have a lot of information. So my way to kind of try to counter that is to get as much education as I can, to learn as many things as I can, to advocate for a place for us at the table. And if there's not a place for us at the table, we're going to build our own, right? Because I believe that, especially when it comes to the mental health of traumatized African American people, that it is probably a good thing for us to be able to take care of our own, right? So I tend to be a little bit radical, but I try to be real nice with it. Andrea will tell you, I'm always saying, watch your words, be careful with the relationship, all that stuff. But I am going to make sure I take care of myself and my own. Mm-hmm.
Because you've been in business a bit longer, have you noticed, like, with COVID or being in business over the years, has that changed or gotten better, or is it still the same?
You mean with the racism, the sexism, the stuff?
And just some of the stuff that you experienced, like, has it changed going into 2020, or been, maybe?
Yeah, I think that things are changing. I think this 2020 has been a very interesting year because of all of the murders of African Americans, not just in 2020, but this rise of the Black Lives Movement. So people are perceiving, and really there are a lot of people who are working towards being more inclusive, and so it doesn't But we haven't been in those arenas where those situations where we are face to face with as many people as we were prior to the pandemic. But I do think that things are changing. And the longer we're in business, I can think of a few referral sources. Well, actually, even from the beginning, people wouldn't even pay us any attention. But now people see that we are serious, that we're not going anywhere, that we're skilled, and we really care about the people that we provide services to. So, yes, things are changing. They are changing. They haven't gotten completely, how that ladder, it's not completely balanced yet, but it's definitely getting better.
Here, I just want people to know that there is, room for you at this table. And like Ms. Gloria said, people are building tables. So there's a table to find one. Chris and Tiffany, did you want to add to that question?
Yeah, I had one thing. And I kind of have a little bit of a different look on it. So I agree as well that there is still pieces of racism and discrimination and sexism, things that have carried down. But one of the things that I've also noticed, which I think is still a form of it, is the stereotypes that we, as African Americans, sometimes have aimed into our just allowed to kind of we don't even realize that we have accepted some stereotypes. And I know for me, being in the health industry, health and wellness industry, I'll take my grandparents, for example, the stereotypes of, Black people not going to the doctor or not exercising or, eating whatever they want, and you're going to get diabetes or you're going to have high blood pressure. You're just more prone because your skin color is dark. And for me, I have really tried to use my business to help educate that those don't have to be the case. That we have some control over that. And I'll tell a small story through launching my subscription box. I had several people, and honestly, when you launch a business, you'll be surprised by who steps out and supports you and who doesn't. And I was shocked by my first subscribers were 2 deacons from my church from growing up. And I was just like, really? And so long story short, one of them, unfortunately, passed away before even receiving his first box. And one of the things that he wrote on there was that he was diabetic and that he was struggling with that. And so it just fueled me more that it let me see that I opened up a path for them to now break away from that stereotype of that I've just got to figure out how to live with this, disease or live with this ailment, and that's just how is this going to be. And so I think a lot of times, while we are also battling discrimination, sexism, and those things from other groups, we have some internal stereotypes that we have just accepted and have not done many things to do. And that definitely plays a role in your mental wellness, because you just develop this, you cope with it, and it's not healthy. And then the issues come, and then it's the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and then we get to, unfortunate places. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Thank you for sharing that powerful story. And I think that really provides testimony to the fact that the services are needed and people are looking for new solutions, and then also, and not just for African Americans and indigenous populations, Hispanic populations, people of color, white people, everyone is looking for alternative care, alternative solutions. And if you provide that, if you build it, they will come. Tiffany, did you want to add anything in there before we move on?
I did. So I can't say that I directly experience any type of racism that I know about.
And it doesn't have to be just racism. It could be gender or any form of discrimination.
Right. Not so much in mental health, but I wanted to point out something though, because I always like to try to advocate for the kids in group home, because I feel like a lot of times that group is forgotten. But I remember while working at the Methodist home here in Macon, and when I worked at Headspace, What I found to be interesting is that everybody that worked in the house, now 70% of the kids that's in the Methodist home are African American. When I worked in the homes, because that's how I started out, actually working in there, administering medication, working with the youth, all of us, all of the staff that work directly with the youth are African American. But as you move up to the admin positions, the higher paid positions, all of those individuals were white. And I'm still in my mind trying to understand that, because I would think that, like myself, you would start off working in the home with the youth in order to move up so that you can know what you're doing when you're working with these individuals. But they won't work in the homes with the kids. They won't work in there with them. I remember one white woman that came in and worked in the home with us. 2 weeks later, she was gone. However, they were ready to give her a receptionist position. So I just kind of want to plug that in, because I think a lot of times we forget that our kids are in the group home and they're working, we're in there with them, and the pay is very minimal. It's very minimal for the staff that works in there with the youth. And I think that that's an area of slight discrimination, some type of way. I haven't figured it out yet, because you can apply for those positions, but I don't know what's happening.
So can I speak to that? So that is that when one way to know when an organization is culturally competent, right? Meaning that they're aware of what's going on around them, and is to see where they are locating the work, what people are holding the lower end positions, and what people hold the positions like you're referring to. So maybe in the past, and it is a form of discrimination, right? So, and I'm just kind of affirming that for you. But maybe in the past, what they've done is they've operated and not been as culturally competent as they can be, but they can learn to be more culturally competent, meaning that they can promote from within, and so have people who are working in the houses work in the administrative end of the work, the business as well. So yeah, but it is a form of discrimination.
And thank you for clarifying that, Gloria, and the word choice you're using there, culturally competent. It is of my opinion and of my views here expressed are not the views of Macon Startup League or any of the people on this panel. But it is of my opinion that this is the reason why we need more entrepreneurs in the mental health field. This is just, one of Fancy Nancy's analogies, but I was listening to a Jadakiss song just yesterday. It's called Closure. And he said this line, when you own the company, you can never get fired. And it just resonated with me. And thinking about what you're saying, Tiffany, when you own the company, you can promote who you want to promote. When you own the company, you can have that cultural competence from day one. When you own the company, you don't have to convince someone to believe that your data is relevant and then to make data-informed decisions. And so I think our people and the climate of Macon, again, I specifically am talking about Macon. I'm not on this tangent about Black people. Macon is compromised with 50 to 60% African Americans. So I'm talking about the relevance of this information for this county. We need more resources from people that look like the people who they're trying to serve here, the people who are suffering from concentrated poverty and blight and things of that nature, because a rising tide raises all boats, but all ships, but a boat with a hole is gonna sink anyway. And we have all these boats with holes that we're not rising. And I think that we can fill the holes with services provided by people that look like them, with services that are spread out through all of our zip codes. And so entrepreneurship in the mental health field, that's why we're here. Moving on to the next question, and you guys are providing great feedback so far. I love this. You again don't have to answer this question, but just to give people an idea about the financial stability part of it, what does a person in your unique kind of subsect of the mental health field earn? Is that something that you're still trying to figure out? Or are you making good money? Or like, what can you share, if any, about your earnings?
Okay, go ahead.
Um, I think that can be answered a couple ways. Again, I'll speak forward to my field, with it being product based and partnership based with other people and other brands. For me, I set out to replace my full time income with my business as my long term goal. And so I think when you become an entrepreneur, you do have that autonomy to kind of really figure out your, decide your income, but also that also plays into the needs in your market and whatnot. So in my field, I have the ability in the next 10 plus years to create a 6 and 7 figure income. And so I'm on that path. Obviously I'm not gotten there. I'm still working on a day job, but you begin looking at the small things. So for me, my businesses, it is enough to cover my business expenses. It is enough to cover parts of different bills and sometimes my rent. So it's fluctuating, but I'm now learning kind of, all right, what do I need to do to keep consistency in my business income? What does that need to go to? But I do have an end goal, and my end goal is first major end goal is to replace my full-time income. So I think you kind of got to figure out what your income desire is, and then you can map out how do you get there, and you'll figure out if your field can get you there. I can't say that every field is going to make someone a millionaire, right? But there is a will, there is a way. So for me, I know that is potential, but again, to get there.
Chris, and what I'm hearing is residual income. What I'm hearing is bills covered, trips taken, traveling, extra money. So again, it may or may not replace your whole income, but it could. And we have a question from the audience. What is the process that you took to set your prices, Chris? Because I did hear some of that business planning in there, making sure you're covering the cost of products.
That's a great question. So specifically for me, there's 2 ways I'll answer that. As far as my products, the majority of the retail prices are set with the brands I partner with. However, I do have the ability to change that. So if I'm going to put together specials, if I'm going to put together packages of different things, then I can control the prices there. As far as for my subscription box, the process really was I did a little market research, and that's, again, talking to your surroundings. So I wanted to get an understanding of, I knew I was going after, I hate that term, the average person, but I'll use that for now as far as marketing my boxes too. So I want to get an understanding of what would you pay? What would you pay for a subscription box that included these items? And then here's some, and I use that actually as my basis. And then obviously I want to factor in shipping costs, factor in the cost that my cost for the wholesale costs, right? For getting the products. And then you factor in you really want to factor in how much profit do you think is reasonable based on this price. And so you have a mix of things you look at when you're creating the prices, but you also kind of have to know your worth. And sometimes we'll undervalue, or we'll kind of get into people's pockets and think we know what they might spend, but we've never really took the time to ask the question. And people will pay for quality work. And so I kept that in mind as well. Is that, all right, I know that I need to produce quality, no matter if I'm charging this person $1 or $50. So I hope that answers the question as far as the process.
Yes, and then for people who still have questions about that, definitely look at business plans, because they will give you a formula where you can fill in a template what the cost of your product and or service is. And when you're looking at services, you're factoring in, how much does it cost for me to pay gas to get there? How much does it cost for me to keep the lights on, the internet on? How much is rent? So, your services have fixed costs and things like that as well. So you're going to use the same formula, whether you're starting a nonprofit to address mental wellness or you're starting a business to address mental wellness and get in that industry. Does anyone else want to add about, what you're making? I'm not trying to see if you boil and you ain't got to pull out receipts, but, just let the people know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tiffany.
No, go ahead, Ms. Gloria.
All right, so I don't think a lot of people get into mental health counseling for the income. I'm going to say that first. But I do know that the potential is kind of limitless, right? So if you're willing to put in the work, then you can make a 6-figure salary, right? If you're willing to even to partner with other people, if you're willing, to try to so I am one of those individuals. I believe in not having a single stream of income. So because for me, it didn't make sense to do that. And so I do provide groups for sex offenders and family violence perpetrators. But so I look at various ways to bring in revenue, and as well as writing books and doing trainings and consulting with other organizations, because that makes it means that it increases the amount of income. But if you and you think that probably not in the CSB, but in my rate per hour is $85. So if you calculate that by 40, I mean, you could do that, right? I'm not going to see 40 hours worth of clients. I would be insane to do that. But if you say you see 5 clients a day, 6 clients a day, you can do the math, right? But the potential is there, but you have to be mindful of your own mental health. And you have to be, it doesn't mean, nope, not balling. I'm not going to, well, okay. So I am comfortable, and I'm not going to tell a lie about that either. But I work a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I work a lot. And but the potential is there. But that's not the reason I got into doing the work. And that's not the reason I do the work. I do the work because I really love seeing people reach their goals. I really love seeing people change. But I don't want anybody to not do this, because there is a myth out there that people who do mental health counseling don't make any money. And so that's probably true when you start out. I know it's true when you start out, because I know I didn't take some jobs because that's not enough money for me to keep my mortgage going. So I didn't do it. So I know that when you start out, you don't make a lot of money, but there is the potential. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you for adding that, Ms. Gloria. And also want to add to something that you mentioned, multiple streams of revenue. Ms. Gloria is a counselor, but she's providing telehealth and digital therapeutics, but there's also mental wellness application, business-to-business consultation, measurement and testing. There's non-tech things, wellness centers, subscription boxes, free health clinics. So you don't have to just provide one service or go into one avenue. Maybe your multiple streams of revenue are all multiple streams of revenue in the health and wellness industry.
That's right.
And the mental wellness industry. That's similar to what Andrea got going on. Did anybody else want to jump in to that question?
I was just gonna say, I'm still kind of figuring out, like Mr. Christopher mentioned, I feel like a lot of times I do undervalue some of my services. To honestly speak, it has been a challenge with getting clients in for life coaching. But because I have a brick and mortar, I also use my facility to let people rent out to have events. So that's what's been keeping the lights on. And that's what's been keeping, me pay and keeping Jaco's up and running, because I open it up to the community to have whatever they want to have in there. By me doing camps, I have found a way to make those camps life coaching camps. So I'm able to charge per child. But honestly and truly, just working one-on-one with clients, that hasn't really been sufficient yet for me. And I'm too blind too, so
Yeah, Miss Tiffany's going to leave her information in the comments. So if you guys are looking for a new life coach, please feel free to reach out. Seems to me she has some availability.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to add something else.
Please, Ms. Gloria, and Andrea, we come.
I'm sorry, Andrea, but I really think this is important. Like, one of the African-centered principles is the idea of collectivism. And what we don't always do, I'm looking, I see entrepreneurs, I see young people, and there are lots of people around who are want to do things, but it's like everybody wants to have their own little spot. And if we figure out how to collaborate, share space, then we can do a whole lot more with the little bitty few pennies that we got. If we put them, together, not like somebody's trying to take anything from anybody else, but if we understand this idea of collaboration, collectivism, then we can kind of get a lot further. So that's just another one of my little soapboxes, but I'm off of it right now, Andrea.
So, what was the question again, Nancy? So I answer accurate.
How much money you making? Show me your receipts. No, I'm kidding. The question was just like, if you're willing to share, is this profitable? What's going on? Make money if I'm coming in.
Pre-COVID, I would definitely say that within, well, okay, so let me put it like this. We contract with pre-COVID 17 people. So we were providing livelihoods for 17 people. And so we were doing pretty okay. It like my mom said at the beginning was, we were pretty much just working to pay other people. Like that was, so we weren't earning anything. And that's one of we were actually losing money. We were taking money out of our own stuff and paying for people because the work needed to be done. We were committed to the people who work with us because we feel like they are our partners, that they're not working for us, they're working with us. But what I would say is that there's so many opportunities to make money in this space. Whether you're in advocacy or activism or 10 years ago, working with sex offenders was probably the most lucrative work that I've seen. Over the last few years, what we can charge for working with that population has reduced because there's so many more people interested and they drove the prices down. But we've pivoted. So when that happened, then Gloria developed a program that we can sell to other providers who do this work. So there's so many ways to make a really good living doing this work. And you shouldn't have to not have what you need in order to help other people. There's no vow of poverty that we take just because we want to help the people in our community. And I think that is often a stereotype. It's like if you're out here and you're trying to help the community, you're working, you're doing community activism, then you should make nothing. And I can say that I was one of those people who also believed that and had to pivot because I couldn't survive. I got 8 kids. I can't keep using my money to fund the services that I want to offer. So, number one, if you take nothing away from this, seek out contracts with large organizations. They're always putting up RFPs. Bid on everything. Somebody's got to be willing to accept your proposal somewhere. And every for-profit business should have a nonprofit entity. Every single one. So, and that's just my own little advice to anyone who's listening.
Thank you so much. That was a great note to end on. I hope you guys wrote that down. That was gems. You're not going to see Chris and Andrea again for free, or Tiffany or Miss Gloria. So I hope y'all soaked it up, okay? We'll be charging ticket prices for the next one. I'm kidding, guys. Thank you for joining us. Again, you can go to maconheadspace.com and find all the information for my panelists' business listed on our local therapist page. They are putting their contact information in the chat if you want to copy and paste that. Follow them all on social media. They're all, you can find them under their names on Facebook if you want to start there. And everyone is going to be headed to the main stage at 4. So you guys can hop on over there. And just thank you again for listening. If you have any questions, you can email me at nancy@maconheadspace.com. I'm going to put my email in the chat. And if there's anything that we didn't get to cover, I'll keep answering those questions on our Facebook page. And thank you, Latrice, for listening. Thank you for everyone who joined us. Thank you to my panelists for saying yes. And I hope that you guys found this as informative as I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nancy. Thank you, everybody. It was nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
All right. So Nancy, are you wanting us to go to the main stage thing or no?
You can if you want to.
Okay.
Estelle said that everyone's meeting at the main stage. So just jump over to the main stage real quick just in case. But then you're free to go.
Click on stage on our left.
Yeah, click on stage. I believe it's another event happening there.
Oh, okay.